When searching for Rust bases on YouTube, the phrase "the best" gets thrown around quite liberally, and is even something that I used before. But what does it mean? Well, the best base would be the base that, if compared to any other base, would be deemed better. That's right, my lads, we got our first sponsor on this channel, and this time it's none other than RustySaloon.com, a brand new Rust gambling website that launches today. And with game modes like Towers, Dice, 50 times, and Roulette, and of course the one and only Crash, the site got all that your heart desires. And even if you run out of money, just use code SALOON or claim your free 3 cents through the faucet. Just follow the requirements on screen. Once you want to withdraw all your hard-earned cash, simply use the withdraw page. Don't worry, the site is proven fair, so if you're of age, go to RustySaloon.com. And now, back to the video. But how do we compare bases in Rust? And how then do we decide which one is better? Well, looking at the two most popular bases on my channel, at the moment of recording this would be the example of before, the best expanded 2x2, and my favorite base I ever built. You can easily see that one is cheaper on metal, whereas the other one doesn't require hard to get blueprints. One is better to expand and has more organized second floor, and the other one is a bit easier to build. This should show you that sometimes it is hard to objectively tell which base exactly is better, even when they both are very similar, which would be the case in this example. So to get a clearer answer, let's compare two very different bases. Let's on the one hand look at Vice Versa Games' Magnum Opus, and on the other, Evil West's Thrifty Scott. Whereas the Magnum Opus is a giant coreless multi-TC clan base with roof bunkers, unlootables, a massive all-surrounding shooting floor, and more bedrooms than some people in this community can count to. And then we have the Thrifty Scott, which consists of a TC room, a loot room, and an airlock. Saying it out loud should show you where I'm going with this. In my opinion, the concept of a best base in Rust doesn't make sense, as every base needs to meet different requirements. What a solo builds on wipe day and what a 100-man Zerg builds on a monthly wipe might both be called a base, house a TC, and some box storage, but other than that, they don't really have a lot in common. I believe that you can only compare bases by comparing them to what they need to do and how good they achieve that goal. What a base needs to do will vary very heavily depending on how many people will live in the base, how they like to play, how active they are, how much they are willing to farm, how important upkeep is for them, and if they have good access to a lot of high quality metal, by for example running launch site, oil rigs or military tunnels a lot. Let's look at a group of people that is often overlooked, a group that often gets ridiculed for the bases that they build: roleplayers. Looking at a roleplayer's base through the lens of a 10,000 hours PvP chat that's only goal for a wipe is to get as many AKs as possible, a roleplayer's base might seem like utter garbage. It doesn't cost a lot of rockets to raid, it doesn't have peaks and bedrooms everywhere to fight off an entire Zerg by yourself, it also doesn't have a roof camp tower to kill nakeds running around on the beach. But this doesn't mean the base is bad. A roleplayer just doesn't care about these things. The goal for a roleplayer is to usually build something aesthetic, something that is fun to build and look at. Roleplayers just need their own base to do other things than other people, which is okay. Everyone should live in a base that is right for them. But don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that I don't think bases can be bad. Let's just look at my gaming experience base, the one that I made a video on. That base fails at the basics that every base has to offer, and a lot of other things. The base is super hard to expand, as it is purely designed to be protected for offline raids, with no regards of how to get to that point. Then it has barely any storage, which is one of the two main things that a base has to have. Every base needs to have storage, and you need to be protected inside, unless you want people to spend valuable explosives or a lot of time getting in. As I said in the video, the base just doesn't have any kind of good thing in it. It just isn't good at anything and only decent at offline protection, and nothing else, which is why in my opinion it is a bad base. But if there isn't something like the best base, then why do so many people say theirs is? And why do so many YouTubers have dozens of best bases? Well, it is one of two things. Either they didn't think about it well enough and believe that their base is actually the best base in all of Rust for the solo who plays 1 hour a day on vanilla and a 50 deep Zerg on a 10x. Or they just try to attract clicks from players who are just looking for the next base to build in the upcoming wipe, whereas the first one isn't really understandable and would just show that the builder in question has no idea of what he or she is talking about. The second version, which is a lot more likely in my opinion, is very understandable. Rust building is a very niche scene in which it is hard to grow and stand out from the rest. A lot of people spend a lot of time on their videos and would like to either get some form of monetary compensation or just want to share their passion for building or a specific base. These are both very understandable reasons, and although I'm not happy about either to exist, I can understand it very well myself. Not too long ago, sometimes I made 0 subscribers a day, which to be honest didn't feel great. But I just tried to improve my building and videos, and now my channel's running quite well in my opinion. This might make you believe that only small channels use this tactic of clickbaiting, but then you would be very wrong. Comparatively, giant Rust builders like Vice, My Gaming Experience, Prince Witz and even Evil Wurst use this tactic to get more views. This means that smaller YouTubers might assume it is correct and good to call every base you ever built the best, or feel like that if they don't do that, nobody will ever watch their videos. Which just isn't the case. Evil Wurst has a very dedicated fan base and is loved by a lot of people and regarded as a very good builder. He would get the views anyway, even without using these tags. This, in my opinion, would set a good example for upcoming builders, of which many look up to him either because they like him as a builder or because he is the most successful YouTuber in this niche and they also want to become successful. This isn't supposed to be a front to anyone using this tactic. I just made the video to talk about the issue that I see in this wonderful community that has a lot of very talented people in it. I just think that it's incredibly sad that every base needs to be the best at everything always and can't just be a good base anymore. This was the video. Until next time. Later.